Hello, friends, family, world. Luke here with episode 18 of our Eurotrip 2019 travel series. If you aren't caught up, go to the small I button in the top right corner of your screen, go to the Eurotrip 2019 playlist, and click on episode 1 to start from the beginning. All right, guys, let's get right into it with Denmark Part 1. From where we last left off, we flew from the Faroe Islands to Copenhagen via Atlantic Airways. Like I mentioned in my Faroe Islands Part 1 video, the Faroe Islands are technically part of the Kingdom of Denmark, and therefore most of the flights leaving the islands tend to go to Copenhagen. By the time we landed and made it to the city center, it was later at night and we headed straight to bed, as we had a long day ahead of us the next day. We woke up bright and early to take the train from Copenhagen to the town of Helsingør, where we plan to explore the UNESCO World Heritage Site of Fredericksborg Castle. We arrived in town shortly before the castle opened, so in the meantime we decided to walk around the city a bit. Once open, we walked around the castle. The castle has some gorgeous architecture, and the chapel in particular was beautiful, particularly from the upper level. Denmark's Museum of Natural History is also located here at Fredericksborg Castle and includes a large collection of historical paintings and artworks. After this, we broke out our Eurail pass again in order to hop on the train headed for the seaside town of Helsingør. Here you can find a lovely waterfront, some public art, and the main attraction that we came here to see, which was Kronborg Castle. This UNESCO World Heritage Site is probably most famous for being the setting for Shakespeare's Hamlet. Multiple theater and film productions of Hamlet have taken place here as a result. We found it a nice place to visit if you have time in your itinerary. We arrived back in Copenhagen in the afternoon, just in time for a free walking tour of Copenhagen as well as Christianshavn. With this, we got an interesting overview of the history of Copenhagen as well as Denmark in general. Whenever talking about Copenhagen, the topic of Christiania is likely to come up at some point. If you aren't familiar with it, it kind of started out as this anarchist hippie community that's right there next to Copenhagen, and is a spot that tourists are interested to at least see once for themselves. They don't particularly like people taking photos and videos there, so we did respect that and didn't do that. But if you are interested in learning a bit more about this area, Tyler wrote some more details about it in our blog at lukeandtyler.com. I'll leave a link in the description to that post down in the description box below. After this, we walked back into the city of Copenhagen, and it was a beautiful evening, and we stumbled upon this nice food court area that was outdoors and had nice food and drinks on offer. So we stopped there and enjoyed ourselves before heading back into the city center to go to our hostel. It was also nice because the sun was beginning to set along our walk walk in the famous Nyhavn district, and it was just really pretty walking along the canal at that time of day. This area is known for its iconic line of townhouses, and it was really a great way to finish up a pretty jam-packed but very fun first day in Copenhagen. The following morning, we took a journey to the island of Ærø. With our trip to Denmark, we were very particular about wanting to see more of the country than just the typical Copenhagen-centered itinerary, and so we looked into different islands and areas of Denmark that have their own unique smaller town charms that are not typically on the tourist's map. And we found that this island checked all of those boxes for us. To get there, we took a train from Copenhagen to Odense, and then from Odense to Svendborg, where we ended up boarding the ferry to the island of Ærø. We arrived in the main town of Ærøskøbing mid-morning and immediately boarded a local free bus that got us as close as possible to our accommodation for the night. We ended up finding a cute bed and breakfast that we ended up booking on booking.com. I'll post an affiliate link to this particular bed and breakfast for those of you who are interested in checking it out. You can find it in the description box below. After dropping our bags off here, we ended up taking the free local bus back into town. We arrived back in town around noon and enjoyed a nice lunch at a restaurant called Mum. We enjoyed a little bit of window shopping and just walking around the cute town, talking to some of the locals who did seem very surprised to encounter Canadians visiting this area. And afterwards, we went to pick up bike rentals to explore other parts of the island. You can tell there isn't much crime on this island considering they didn't even feel the need to give us locks to lock up our bikes, and were happy enough for us to leave them wherever we wanted. They didn't seem too concerned about them being potentially stolen. So that was kind of nice and heartwarming to discover. For the rest of the day, we enjoyed taking smaller, more scenic roads that took us through the countryside down to the southern tip of the island. We left the bikes here and enjoyed just walking along the beach, enjoying the tranquility and the nice ocean breeze. From here, we took our bikes back to Ærøskøbing and then west to a picturesque area of the island that featured these cute small beach huts. This island was definitely giving us vibes of summer beach getaway, and we loved it. After this, we headed back to town, returned the bikes, and then decided to have some drinks in the center of town. We enjoyed drinks in this really cute little beer garden right in the center of town at a restaurant that I am not even going to attempt pronouncing, but I will write down along here if you're interested in visiting it. We would definitely recommend it. The following morning, we made our journey back towards Copenhagen, stopping briefly in the town of Odense, which is where Hans Christian Andersen, the author of many famous fairy tales, including The Little Mermaid, was born. Upon arriving back in Copenhagen, we dropped our bags off at our hotel and went on to explore some of the city some more, including grabbing dinner at a vegan restaurant called Plant Power Food, where our waiter happened to be Canadian. We found that quite amusing and chatted with him a bit, and then rounded off the evening exploring some of the gay bars in Copenhagen, including one of the oldest gay bars in all of Europe, called Centralhjørnet. The bar itself opened in 1917, but didn't become a specifically gay bar until the 1950s. But still, can you imagine how progressive that was for that particular time? So really amazing to at least see it and just think about all of the history that must have happened there. So check it out if you're in the area. All right, guys, that is it for part 1 of our experience in Denmark. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give this video a like, a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Stay tuned because next week I'll be posting part 2 of our experience in Denmark. See you then. Bye.